Hi, this is Goddess Cecilia from goddesscecilia.com. I'm going to talk a little bit about my postpartum journey and my recovery after birth journey. So, I'll be honest with you, I've spent so much time thinking about, learning about pleasure. I a little bit neglected the whole piece of what happens to a body during such a life-changing event like a pregnancy. I didn't want to get overwhelmed with a lot of the books and articles and apps that were out there, and it still overwhelmed me even though I tried not to get overwhelmed by it. But I wanted to take it step by step. What is something that felt relevant to me at the time? What were questions that I had about certain things that were happening with me and my body and the baby? And then there was the time after the baby arrived. I kind of forgot to think about how to take care of myself after the baby. Some things that I didn't know, things that I wasn't prepared for, things that I didn't even think about. Now, I had a very special situation in which I ended up having a C-section, and I was in the hospital for a couple of days before the actual birth. I had to get used to walking again after a couple of days of walking. These mesh underwear, which are not forgiving in any way, but man were they useful. Huge pads, all the bleeding that was going to happen afterward. You know that there's going to be blood. You know that there's going to be bodily fluids. You know that it's going to get really messy during the birth. I did not think about the blood after the birth. The uterus has to shrink down again to the size that it was before the baby, and that can take time. That can be painful, and there's blood involved in all of that. Luckily, the nurses and the doctors were amazing. They were wonderful. They answered all my questions. They listened to me when I was saying that I didn't feel very well or maybe that I was in pain. I'm very lucky in that situation. I know for a fact that not everybody has that same kind of support during and after birth. Black women are disproportionately not believed when it comes to pain and suffering. I know that me being an Asian American woman, cisgender, doesn't necessarily have to deal with a lot of the same barriers or conflicts as so many other people might have to deal with. I do want to be clear that this is my personal story. I hope that by talking about it a little bit, it'll help to prepare someone else who is getting ready to welcome a new little life into their world. If you want to see more about my recovery story, head on over to goddesscecilia.com.